Very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all for the next lecture of heat transfer. Please let me know whether my voice is audible or not. Great, great. So in the last lecture, we have finished the chapter number 5, that is boiling and condensation. In today's lecture, we are going to start our new chapter, chapter number 6, heat exchange. So university has provided the syllabus, that is types of exchangers, fouling factor, overall heat transfer coefficient, then analysis by LMTD and NTU method for counter flow, for parallel flow and counter flow. Okay, so here I have to mention the parallel flow also. Parallel and counter flow. Okay, so and the last one is the design consideration for heat exchanger. At this point, heat pipe point, it is in a boiling and condensation chapter. It comes under, according to the new syllabus, this particular point comes under the boiling and condensation chapter. But this is one kind of a heat exchanger. So I think I have to consider this particular point under the heat exchanger. So that I have taken this point under the heat exchanger chapter. But as a university syllabus, this point is provided under the boiling and condensation chapter. Okay, so these are the this is the syllabus university has provided under the heat exchanger chapter. Okay, so types of a heat exchangers. So in this types of heat exchangers, we have to consider the classification of heat exchanger. Okay, and the analysis by LMTD and NTU method for parallel and counter flow. So in analysis, we have to provide the derivation part for the LMTD for parallel flow and counter flow, and NTU for parallel flow and counter flow. So long form of LMTD is logarithmic mean temperature difference, and long form of NTU is number of transfer units. Okay, long form of NTU is number of transfer units. And lastly, we have to check for the heat pipe. Okay, design consideration for heat exchanger. This is the theoretical part, and the heat pipe is also we have to discuss in a theoretical manner. Okay, but the problems will be on analysis by LMTD and NTU method. Okay, so derivations and problems. So this particular chapter consists of four derivations. Okay, one is LMTD for parallel flow. Second one is LMTD for the counter flow. Third one is NTU, number of transfer units for parallel flow, and fourth one is number of transfer units for counter flow. Okay, so these four derivations are there, and the remaining part is the theoretical part, and the problems will be asked on this particular four derivations only. Okay, or the formulas come out from this four derivation. On that formulas, the problems will be asked. Okay, so we'll start with what is meant by heat exchanger. Okay, as the name implies, the heat exchanger. So heat exchanger, that is nothing but device or the body or the object which exchange the heat. That is nothing but heat exchanger. So if you consider that the body or object which exchanges the heat is called heat exchanger, then we can think that the every material on the earth continuously exchanging the heat. Okay, continuously exchanging the heat. Take the simple example that our body always try to maintain the temperature equal to 36.6 degrees Celsius. Okay, body temperature 36.6 degrees Celsius. So for that reason, body is also continuously exchanging the heat with the surrounding. Okay, if the temperature of body will increase, that will be we can say that the temperature of blood is increases or temperature of cell is increases, and cell will exchange the heat to the blood, and blood will exchange the heat to the surface or the skin, okay, surface of body or skin, and skin will exchange the heat to the surrounding. So in such a manner our body is also best example of a heat exchanger. Anywhere else, if you take that, whatever the kitchen activities you are performing in the kitchen, so all that activities comes under the heat exchanger, because the burner is used to heat up the material which is placed in pot, and for that reason we are using the pot, and pot exchange the heat with the food. So that all the activities, we can say that it is one kind of heat exchanger activity. So all these pots can be considered as a heat exchanger, okay. And if you say that uh, every material, uh, the soil, the water, continuously exchanging the heat with the surrounding, but the question is that whether we say that all are the heat exchangers, okay, all are the heat exchangers. Specifically in heat transfer, the device which is considered to be heat exchanger, which provide the maximum rate of heat transfer, okay, specifically in heat transfer, the device which provide the maximum rate of heat transfer and minimum running cost, okay, with a minimum running cost. So that particular device is specifically called as a heat exchanger, okay, specifically called as a heat exchanger. And the heat exchanger having very much prime importance in the industrial sector, everywhere, in food industries, in sugarcane industries, in steel power plant, in oil and gas industries. This heat exchanger plays very much important role, okay. And the efficiency of overall plant is also depends on this type of heat exchangers, okay, where the prime function of a heat exchanger is nothing but to exchange the heat, okay, from hot fluid to the cold fluid, okay, to exchange the heat from hot fluid to the cold fluid. Sometimes what will happen, both the fluids are mixed to each other, and the heat will be transferred from the hot fluid and cold fluid. So in that case, both the fluids are having or both hot and cold fluids are same fluid only, okay. Let us say that if you want to cool your bathing water, okay, in the morning you want to take the bath, and you want to cool your hot water, okay, whatever you have taken from the geyser, okay, and you want to cool that particular water. So for that reason, you are pouring extra cold water in that particular hot water, and you are reducing the temperature. So in that case also, the hot water will get exchange the heat with the cold water, okay. Hot water will get exchange the heat with the cold water. So that is also one part of a heat exchanger. And if you use that particular function for the productivity increment, or we can say that effectiveness increment of any of the function of industry, so then that will be the better heat exchanger, okay, that will be the better heat exchanger. So that function also we can implement anywhere where it is a requirement to transfer the heat from the same fluid, okay, from the same fluid. So hot fluid is also, if you consider that the water, and cold fluid is also considered to be a water, and in that case we try to mix that two fluids, and we try to exchange the heat from hot water to the cold water. Similarly, it is applicable for another fluids also, okay. So that type of heat exchanger is also there, okay. That type of a heat exchanger are called as a open type of a heat exchanger, okay. Here I want to mention that what is nothing what is the main purpose of a heat exchanger, okay. The main purpose of a heat exchanger to exchange the heat, okay, to exchange the heat. And in heat transfer, this particular terminology is used to such a devices which exchanges heat with a maximum rate and minimum running cost, with a maximum rate and with a minimum running cost, okay. So we can say that the definition of heat exchanger, you can write the definition of heat exchanger as the device which transfer the device which transfer the energy the device which transfer the energy the device which transfer the energy from hot fluid the device which transfer the energy from hot fluid, the device which transfers the energy from hot fluid to cold fluid, to cold fluid, to cold fluid with maximum rate, with maximum rate, with maximum rate. Okay, maximum rate means what? Time required to transfer that heat is very small. Okay, time required to transfer the heat is very small. That is nothing but what? With less time we are transferring maximum amount of heat. So that is nothing but maximum rate. Okay, maximum rate, comma minimum investment. Okay, minimum investment, minimum investment, and minimum running cost, minimum running costs. Okay, so most of the heat exchanger does not use any kind of a external energy to perform this particular function. Okay, so that the designing of a heat exchanger is very much important. Designing of heat exchanger is very much important on the basis of a given input and output temperature. Okay, given input temperature and expected output temperature. So on that basis, the designing of heat exchanger plays very much important role. And for that reason, we have to learn about the LMTD, that is nothing but logarithmic mean temperature difference, and number of transfer units. So which will be useful for the designing of heat exchangers. Okay. Okay. Have you written the definition of heat exchanger? Then further part is about the classification. Okay, so there are n number of types of heat exchangers, and they can be classified into four different varieties. Okay, so the first one is the nature of a heat exchange process. Second one is a relative direction of a fluid motion. Third one is a design and construction feature, and fourth one is a physical state of a fluid. So on this four category we can segregate any of the heat exchanger. Okay, so various heat exchangers are available. Out of that we can categorize this heat exchanger in this four categories. Okay, so one of the heat exchanger may come under the first category, and also that particular heat exchanger may come under the second category also. Okay, so that is not a issue. Okay, so according to nature of, because there are different categories, nature is a different one. Okay, and design construction is a different one. Okay, so one of the heat exchange can come under the nature, and the same can come under the design also. Okay, and then that particular same come under the physical state also. Okay, so that may be possibilities, but we try to segregate this in this types of heat exchanger in this particular four categories. So you can write give heading as a classification, and in that you can write the heat exchangers are classified. The heat exchangers are classified on the basis of, the heat exchangers are classified on the basis of the heat exchangers are classified on the basis of, first one, nature of heat exchange process, nature of heat exchange process. Second one, relative direction of fluid motion, relative direction of fluid motion. Third one, design and construction feature. Third one, design and construction features. Fourth one, physical state of fluid. Fourth one, physical state of fluid. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one, and their further classification of this particular categories are also there. So we have to discuss that also. Okay, nature of heat exchange process. Second one, relative direction of fluid motion. Third one, design and construction features. And fourth one, physical state of fluid. Physical state of fluid. Okay, let us see about the first category, that is nothing but nature of heat exchanger process. Okay, nature of heat exchanger process. So once again, this nature of heat exchange process is divided into two parts, okay, or further classified into two different segments. So first one is the direct contact or open type, direct contact or open type of a heat exchanger, and second one is indirect contact type of a heat exchangers, okay, indirect contact type of a heat exchanger. Further, this indirect contact type is classified as regenerators and recuperators. Further, this indirect type of heat exchangers are classified as regenerators and recuperators. Okay, so we'll discuss first of all in nature of heat exchange process. First category, that is nothing but first classification as direct contact or open type of heat exchanger. Direct contact or open type of heat exchanger. So in direct contact, let us take this particular example. You'll understood better from the example. So one side, this is the closed compartment, and in this compartment or this particular section, cold fluid is transferred from one side, okay, and the steam is transferred from the another side, and the mixture is allowed in this particular compartment, and so that the steam, hot steam, will exchange the heat with the cold steam, and the steam will get condensed, okay, the steam will get condensed, and we will get the hot water from another side, okay, we will get the hot water from the another side, and we can say that there are some gases also present in this steam, and non-condensable gases are also there, and that will be escaped from the top side, okay, that will be escaped from the top side. So what you understood, okay, what you understood from this example, let us say that if the two fluids are allowed to mix each other, if the two fluids are allowed to mix each other, okay, and the heat exchange will happen between that two fluids, then that particular heat exchanger is called as a direct contact heat exchanger. It's called as a direct contact heat exchanger. Here in this particular example, the two fluids are allowed to mix each other, okay, the cold water is one of the fluid, and another fluid is the steam, and in this compartment, which is called as a one kind of a heat exchanger, which allows the exchange of a heat between two fluids, okay, which allows the exchange of a heat between two fluids. So in this compartment, the heat exchange will be happen, and the two fluids are directly in contact, and they exchange the heat. Okay, so this particular type of a heat exchanger is called as a direct contact heat exchanger or open type of a heat exchanger. Okay, open type or direct contact type of a heat exchanger. Getting everyone? Open type or direct contact type of a heat exchanger. Okay, so you can use the heading and you can draw this diagram 1.1. Okay, one is nothing but nature of heat exchange process, and under that we are discussing about the 1.1 direct contact or open type. Okay, so give heading direct contact heat exchanger, direct contact heat exchanger, and you can draw this diagram. Over, right up part over. Have you drawn this figure? Shall I move ahead? So you can write in such a heat exchanger, in such a heat exchanger, the exchange of heat takes place, the exchange of heat takes place by direct mixing of hot and cold fluid, by direct mixing of hot and cold fluid in such a heat exchanger. The exchange of heat takes place by direct mixing of hot and cold fluid hot and cold fluid in such a heat exchanger. The exchange of heat takes place by direct mixing of hot and cold fluid. Next point, transfer of heat and mass takes place simultaneously. Transfer of heat and mass takes place simultaneously. Transfer of heat and mass takes place simultaneously. Full stop. Next point, the figure shows direct contact heat exchanger. The figure shows direct contact heat exchanger. Figure shows direct contact heat exchanger in which steam mixed with cold water. The figure shows direct contact heat exchanger in which steam mixed with cold water and get condensed and get condensed and get condensed. Full stop. The hot water and non-condensable gases, the hot water and non-condensable gases leaves the container. The hot water and non-condensable gases leaves the container. Okay, full stop. So this is about the open type or direct contact type of a heat exchanger. Okay, so second classification of a heat exchanger, that is nothing but on the basis of a nature of a heat exchanger process, is indirect contact type of a heat exchanger. Indirect contact type of a heat exchanger. So in direct type, we have seen that the two fluid, hot fluid and cold fluids, are allowed to mix each other. But in the indirect contact type of heat exchanger, these two fluids are not allowed to mix each other. Okay, and they are separated by walls. Okay, by using wall or separator, we can say that separator. The two fluids are separated, and first of all, the hot fluid will transfer the heat to that particular wall, and that wall will transfer the fluid to the cold fluid. Okay, the wall will transfer the fluid. The wall will transfer the heat to the cold fluid. Okay, so in this particular type of heat exchanger, both the fluids are separated. Okay, and they are not allowed to mix each other. Okay, and the heat will transfer across the wall. Okay, heat will transfer across the wall. So such a type of heat exchangers are called as a indirect contact type heat exchanger. Okay, now further, this indirect contact type of heat exchanger are classified as regenerators and recuperators. Okay, this indirect contact type of heat exchanger is further classified as regenerators and recuperators. So what is meant by regenerator? Okay, so consider this particular picture. Okay, so and try to understand what is meant by regenerator. Okay, so regenerator, by its name implies, it's regenerate the energy. We can say that regenerate the energy. So how it will be regenerate the energy? Let us consider that So this particular red arrow is showing from this side, and the blue arrow is showing in the opposite side of this particular disk. This is the disk. Okay, this is the disk, and this disk is divided into two compartment. Okay, this disk is divided into two compartment. Let us say this is the upper compartment. You can see here, this is the separator. Okay, or the wall is there, and the compartment, bottom side compartment and top side compartment, okay, of that particular disk, and this is the circular disk. Okay, now this disk is continuously rotating. This disk is continuously rotating. Okay, and from the bottom side we are transferring the hot fluid, okay, through this particular disk, and from the top side in opposite direction we are transferring the cold fluid. Okay, so how the heat is transferring then? The disk is already separated into two sections, and the cold fluid is transferring from one side and hot fluid is transferring on another side. Then how the heat will be transferred? So where here is the main function of a regenerator. Okay, here is the main function of a regenerator. Now the disk is made up of such a material which will act as a source and sink. Okay, which will act as a source and sinks. So matrix type of a material, porous material is there. Okay, so when we can say that the hot fluid will move over that particular material inside the disk. Okay, so that particular material, porous material, which is in case of a matrix type of material, you can say that, whose thermal capacity is very much high. So that particular material will capture the heat from the fluid. Okay, that particular material will capture the heat from the fluid. Okay, and once the disk will rotate, once the disk will rotate through this side, okay, towards the upper side, the cold fluid will flow over that particular matrix like structure. Okay, which will be act as a source. Okay, which will be act as a source, and the heat will be transferred from that material to the fluid. Okay, heat will be transferred from that material to the cold fluid. Okay, so in this manner, when this fluid will come out of that particular disk, its temperature will increase, its temperature will get increases. So cold fluid F1 entered, and it captured the heat. Okay, or it receives the heat from the matrix like structure. Okay, porous structure. Special type of materials are used, whose heat thermal capacity is very much high. Such a materials are used to transfer the heats, and the heat will be transferred from that material to the cold fluid, and cold fluid will get heated and leave this particular disk. Okay, so in this manner, the material or porous material or matrix type of structure will act as a sink and source. Okay, so from hot side, that matrix type of a structure or a porous material will act as a sink. Okay, sink means what? Which receives the heat from the hot fluid, and once the disk will get rotate in a upward direction, then the cold fluid will move over that particular material, and that material or that matrix type of a structure will act as a source. Okay, source means what? The provider. Okay, source means provider. So that particular material will provide the heat to the cold fluid, and heat will be transferred to the cold fluid, and the temperature of a cold fluid will get increased. Okay, temperature of cold fluid will get increased after coming out of that particular disk. So in this manner, these particular regenerators are work. Okay, these regenerators are work. Okay, so whereas the second classification of this particular indirect type of a heat exchanger is nothing but a recuperator. Okay, second type of indirect contact type of heat exchanger is nothing but a recuperator. So same here, you can say that from one side cold fluid is moving, and from another side the hot fluid is moving. Now heat will be transferred first of all this particular separator. Okay, so two fluids are separated by wall. That is nothing but you can say that this is the separator. So the first of all this hot fluid which is flowing from one side, that will transfer the heat to this particular separator or a wall, and this particular wall will transfer the heat to the cold fluid. So in this manner the heat exchange will happen in this particular heat exchanger, and such a devices are called as a recuperators. Such a devices are called as a, or such a heat exchangers are called as a recuperators. Okay, so in this type of a heat exchanger, flowing fluids exchanging the heat are on the either side of a dividing wall. These heat exchangers are used when two fluids are not allowed to mix. Okay, when two fluids are not allowed to mix. Okay, in that case we can use the recuperators. Okay, so take the example where we need that there should not be a mixing of a two fluid. So take the example of a pasteurizing of milk. Okay, where the milk is heat up at a very high temperature, and then suddenly the temperature of milk get cold. So that process is called as a pasteurizing. So in pasteurizing process we require to heat up the milk. Okay, so for that reason we required this type of a recuperators. Okay, this type of a recuperator, as we cannot mix hot water and the milk. Okay, as we cannot mix hot water and cold milk and milk to increase the temperature of a milk. Okay, so the steams are used to heat up the milk, and the concentric tube like heat exchangers are used at that particular place, where the from one side the hot steams are flowing, and from another side the milk is transferred, and from steam to the milk heat will be transferred in that case. Okay, so in such a cases we require these types of recuperators. Okay, recuperators where we cannot directly mix up the two fluids, or we does not allow the mixing of the two fluids. Okay, so these types of heat exchangers are called as a recuperators. Okay, getting everyone? Indirect contact type of a heat exchanger. Indirect contact heat exchanger. So you can write down 1.2 as indirect contact heat exchanger. Indirect contact heat exchangers. Indirect contact heat exchangers. Indirect contact heat exchanger. So in that you can write down, in this type of heat exchanger, in this type of heat exchanger, the heat transfer between hot and cold fluid, in this type of heat exchanger, the heat transfer between hot fluid and cold fluid, between hot fluid and cold fluid could be carried out, could be carried out by transmission through, by transmission through wall, by transmission through wall, by transmission through wall, which separates the two fluid, which separates the two fluid, which separates two fluid. Okay, so there are two types of indirect contact heat exchanger. That is nothing but first one is regenerator, 1.2.1 regenerator, regenerator. Okay, so you can draw this particular diagram at your best level. You can draw this diagram. Okay, so hot fluid is flowing from this side. Okay, which will exchange the heat with uh, matrices, or the porous structure, the structure which is having high heat capacity, so that that particular structure will absorb the heat from the hot fluid. Okay, hot fluid, and the disk will get rotated, and as the heat is transferred to the structure, the temperature of this hot fluid will get decreases, and we will get the cold fluid from another side. Okay, as the disk will rotate, the cold fluid will transfer over that particular heated material. Okay, and that particular heated material, or the matrix like structure will release the heat to the cold fluid. and the we will get the hot fluid from another side. We will get the hot fluid from another side. So this is the regenerator. Okay, have you drawn the diagram? So shall we move ahead? So write down in such type of heat exchanger, in such type of heat exchanger, in such type of heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluid in such type of heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluid pass alternatively, pass alternatively through a space, through a space, through a space containing solid particles, through a space containing solid particles in in bracket matrix, in bracket matrix, comma, comma, these material, these material alternatively act as a sink, alternatively act as a sink for hot fluid, for hot fluid and source for cold fluid. This material alternatively act as sink for hot fluid and source for cold fluid. Okay, so I think you better know the difference between sink and source. Okay, then performance is affected by in this particular heat exchanger. The performance of heat exchanger will be affected by first one, the heat capacity of regenerating material. Okay, heat capacity कितनी है स्टोर करने की, हीट स्टोर करने की और रिलीज करने की कैपेसिटी कितनी है, तो उस पर इस हीट एक्सचेंजर की इफिशिएंसी एंड इफेक्टिवनेस डिपेंड होता है. ओके, सो फर्स्ट वन इज हीट कैपेसिटी ऑफ regenerating material. Second one is rate of absorption of heat, rate of absorption of heat, rate of absorption of heat. And third one is the rate of release of heat, rate of release of heat, rate of release of heat. Okay, so this is about the regenerators. Then 1.2.2 is a recuperator. 1.2.2 recuperator. Give the heading recuperators. So widely used heat exchanger is nothing but recuperator. Okay, recuperators are most likely used in the industrial application, and most of the application recuperators are used. Okay, so in that you can write in this type of heat exchanger, 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 flowing fluids, flowing fluids, flowing fluids, exchanging heat, exchanging heat, exchanging heat are on either side of a dividing wall, are on either side of dividing wall, are on either side of a dividing wall. So stop. Next line. These heat exchangers are used. These heat exchangers are used when two fluids are not allowed to mix. These heat exchangers are used when two fluids are not allowed to mix. Not allowed to mix. These heat exchangers are not allowed to mix. Okay, so you can draw this diagram, sketch diagram for the recuperator. Okay, so you can give the nomenclature. I have not given here. So hot fluid. Okay, so this particular orange color arrows you can give the hot fluid, and this particular black colored arrows you can see you can give the nomenclature as cold fluid, and this middle line is you can give as a dividing wall. Okay, or separator, dividing wall or separator. Okay, over. So next type or category of a classification, that is nothing but second. Okay, so up till now we have discussed about the nature of heat exchanger process. Okay, first category, nature of heat exchanger process, and in that we have discussed the direct contact or open type. Then further we have discussed the indirect contact. In that indirect contact further classified as regenerators, and recuperators. Now, second category of a classification is classification on the basis of relative direction. Okay, relative direction. So direction कैसी है? Hot fluid की and cold fluid की. Okay, so on that basis, the heat exchangers are classified. Okay, heat exchangers are classified. So first classification is parallel flow heat exchangers. A second classification is counter flow heat exchangers, and the last classification is cross flow heat exchangers. So these three types are these three types of heat exchanger we can categorize on the basis of a relative direction. Okay, on the basis of a relative direction. So we will see one by one. Okay, so what is meant by parallel flow? So let us understand this particular diagrams. What is meant by parallel flow? So diagram will show you what is meant by parallel flow and what is meant by counter flow and what is meant by cross flow. So diagrams are most important. Now in that particular diagram, arrows are most important. I will say arrows are most important. So the direction of arrow will represent the type of a flow. Okay, the direction of arrow will represent the type of parallel flow or counter flow or cross flow. So now here you can concentrate here that this is the concentric tube and tube heat exchanger. You can say that because this is one tube and this is another tube. So one tube is concentric to another tube. So we can say that this is the concentric tube heat exchanger. So this is once again the classification according to the construction and design. So I will explain here only that concentric tube means what? Tube in tube heat exchanger. One tube is inserted in another tube, and through one tube one fluid is flowing, and through another tube is flowing. So that is nothing but concentric tube. Okay, so this is the concentric tube is there. So in this particular classification we are going to discuss the parallel flow. Okay, let us consider that the hot fluid is entering with a temperature of TH1 from this side. Okay, with a temperature TH1 from this side through the inside tube. Okay, and it is flowing from this side to this side. Okay, from one end to the another end, and from same end another fluid is entering inside the outer tube. Okay, inside the outer tube, and that fluid is also flowing in the same direction of a hot fluid. Okay, that fluid is also flowing in the same direction of that hot fluid. Okay, so whenever the fluid flowing, hot and cold fluid flowing in the same direction, whenever the hot and fluid flowing in the same direction in a heat exchanger, then that heat exchanger is called as a parallel flow heat exchanger. Then that heat exchanger is called as a parallel flow heat exchanger. So let us consider the temperature diagram, temperature versus length diagram. So to understand this temperature versus length diagram, we have to consider the inlet and outlet temperatures of a hot and cold fluid. Okay, so hot fluid inlet temperature, from this side the hot fluid is entering in the heat exchanger. So hot fluid inlet temperature is TH1 and hot fluid outlet temperature is TH2. Okay, whereas the cold fluid inlet temperature is TC1 and cold fluid outlet temperature is TC2. Now we have to represent this on a graph. Okay, on a graph. So we have to plot the graph length for the length versus the temperature. So length of that particular heat exchanger versus the temperature. Okay, and we can determine the variation of temperature with respect to length. Okay, so as the hot fluid will flow in this particular direction, it will transfer the heat to the cold fluid through this particular separating wall. Okay, through this separating wall. Okay, so because of that, as the hot fluid moving over the heat exchanger, the hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, the hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing. So let us say on this particular diagram, so this is the inlet temperature of a hot fluid TH1, and as this particular hot fluid is flowing inside the heat exchanger, the hot fluid will exchange the heat with the cold fluid, so that hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing over the length of that particular heat exchanger, and we will get the lesser temperature at the outlet of that particular pipe. Okay, and TH2 is the lesser temperature than the TH1, whereas from the same side, the cold fluid is entering, and the cold fluid inlet temperature is TC1. Okay, so let us say this is the inlet side, this is the inlet side for the hot fluid and cold fluid. So TC1 is the inlet temperature, which is the lower one temperature for the heat exchanger. And when it entered in the heat exchanger, it will capture the heat which is transferred by the hot fluid through the separating wall. And as this fluid, cold fluid, move over the over that particular heat exchanger, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing. The cold fluid temperature goes on increasing, and at the outlet we will get the maximum cold fluid temperature, that is nothing but TC2. At the outlet we will get the maximum temperature of a cold fluid, that is nothing but a TC2. Now here also, because we are not dealing in, while problem solving, we are dealing with the temperature versus length diagram, okay, or temperature versus length graph. Okay, so while drawing this particular graph for the parallel flow heat exchanger, you have to show the arrows, okay, in the same direction. Okay, and you have to show the inlet temperature for cold fluid and hot fluid for cold fluid and hot fluid on one side, and outlet temperature on another side. Okay, so that will segregate, or that will represent, the diagram is for the parallel flow heat exchanger. The diagram is for the parallel flow heat exchanger. Getting everyone what is meant by parallel flow heat exchanger? Okay, so you can draw this diagram for the parallel flow heat exchanger 2.1 as parallel flow heat exchanger. Okay, draw the diagram and draw this graph also, because we are further, we at every time we need not to draw this particular diagram. We are considering the graphs for the parallel flows and counter flow heat exchangers, and accordingly we will segregate whether the heat exchanger type is parallel flow or counter flow. Okay, so main important thing is that inside the graph, according to this particular schematic diagram, we have drawn this graph. Okay, so th1 tc1 on one side, so th1 tc1 on one side, th2 tc2 on the another side, th2 tc2 on the another side. Okay, and we are plotting this graph for the length versus the temperature. Okay, so as we move over the length of heat exchanger, this particular hot fluid moves over the length of heat exchanger, the temperature of a hot fluid goes on decreasing. Okay, and the temperature of a cold fluid goes on increasing, and we have to show the arrows for hot and cold fluid in the same direction. Okay, in the same direction. Okay, draw on the diagram. Shall I dictate? If the diagram visibility is less, then you can zoom that diagram, and then it will be clear to you. So write down, in parallel flow heat exchanger, 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 the hot and cold fluids are traveling in parallel flow heat exchangers. The hot and cold fluids are traveling in same direction. In parallel flow heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluids are traveling in same direction. In same direction. Then you can write, the hot and cold streams, the hot and cold streams enters, the hot and cold streams enters at one end, at one end, the hot and cold streams enters at one end and leaves at another end. Okay, enters at one end and leaves at another end. Okay, leaves at another end. Next point, as hot and cold fluids are separated by wall, as hot and cold fluid are separated by wall, we may say, we may say it is a recuperator. We may say it is a recuperator or the surface heat exchanger. Recuperator or surface heat exchanger. We may say it is a recuperator or surface heat exchanger. Or surface heat exchanger. Okay, surface heat exchanger. Okay, full stop. You the second heading, second classification on the basis of relative direction, that is nothing but counter flow heat exchanger. Counter flow heat exchanger. Okay, counter flow heat exchanger. So what is meant by counter flow heat exchanger? Let's have a focus on this particular diagram. Okay, so in this diagram, this is once again a concentric tube type of a heat exchanger. Okay, so the hot fluid is entering inside the tube from this side. So TH1 temperature we have mentioned on this side. So TH1 is the inlet temperature of a hot fluid, and this moving in this direction. Okay, in this direction. Whereas the cold fluid is entering from the opposite side. Okay, the cold fluid is entering in the opposite side, and it is flowing in a opposite direction. It is flowing in a opposite direction to that of hot fluid. It is flowing in opposite direction to that of hot fluid. So TC1, we can say that the inlet temperature for the cold fluid in counterflow heat exchanger is opposite to the inlet temperature of hot fluid, is opposite to the inlet temperature of hot fluid. Okay, whereas the hot fluid is leaving the heat exchanger from another side where the cold fluid entry is there. Okay, where the cold fluid entry is there, whereas the 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 cold fluid leaving the heat exchanger where the hot fluid entry is there. Okay, remember this particular quote. Okay, about the counterflow heat exchanger. The entry of the hot fluid and exit of the cold fluid are on the one side, whereas the exit of a hot fluid and entry of the cold fluid are on the another side, whereas the fluids are flowing opposite to each other, so how we can represent this particular heat exchanger on graph? Okay, so x-axis represent the length of heat exchanger, where we are considering the temperatures on the y-axis. Okay, y-axis. So we are taking the reference of this particular schematic diagram. Okay, so hot fluid entering from this side, hot fluid entering on this side, so that we have given th1 temperature on a entry side. So this is our entry side. Okay, so th1 temperature we have provided on this side. This is the entry side for the hot fluid only. Okay, and it is moving towards the next location. Okay, and as this particular hot fluid moves over the length of that particular heat exchanger, it will transfer the heat to the cold fluid via separating wall. Okay, via separating wall, so that the hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing as it moves over the length of that particular heat exchanger. So we can see that as the hot fluid moving over the length, okay, the hot fluid temperature goes on decreasing, and at the end of heat exchanger we will get the lesser temperature of a hot fluid. Okay, and the cold fluid is entering from opposite side, so entry of a cold fluid we have to show over here, and it is flowing opposite to the hot fluid. It is flowing opposite to the hot fluid, and as this particular cold fluid moves over the length of a heat exchanger, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing. Okay, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing. So you can say that the cold fluid moving in opposite direction of a hot fluid, and over the length of a heat exchanger, the cold fluid temperature goes on increasing, and at the exit, the maximum temperature of a cold fluid we will get. Okay, so at where the entry of a hot fluid is there, on that side we will get the exit of a cold fluid. Okay, so the for the counter flow we have to show this graph with opposite direction. Getting everyone? Now, this particular counter flow heat exchanger is more effective than the parallel flow heat exchanger. So heat transfer rate, we will get maximum heat transfer rate or more maximum effectiveness in case of a counter flow heat exchanger as compared to the parallel flow heat exchanger. So for the same surface area available for the heat transfer, the counter flow heat exchanger exchange the maximum amount of heat or more amount of heat as compared to the parallel flow heat exchanger. Getting everyone about the counter flow heat exchanger? Is there any doubt, any question about the parallel flow and counter flow heat exchanger? So you can draw these diagrams. Hmm? Okay, have you drawn the diagram? So write down. In this heat exchanger, in this heat exchanger, hot and cold fluid, in this heat exchanger, hot and cold fluid, in this heat exchanger, hot and cold fluid flows in opposite direction, flows in opposite direction. In this heat exchanger, hot and cold fluid flows in opposite direction. Opposite direction. Second point, here, here, hot fluid is entering. Here, hot fluid is entering at one end. Here, hot fluid is entering at one end, while cold fluid is entering from another end. 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 Next point, due to counterflow, due to counterflow, due to counterflow, this type of heat exchanger, due to counterflow, this type of heat exchanger gives maximum heat transfer, gives maximum heat transfer, gives maximum heat transfer for given surface area. Okay, gives maximum heat transfer for given surface area. For given surface area. Full stop. Therefore, such heat exchanger, such heat exchanger are most favored. Therefore, such heat exchanger are most favored for heating and cooling of a fluid. For heating and cooling of a fluid. Most favored for heating and cooling of a fluid. Okay. So third classification on the basis of relative direction of a fluid motion is cross flow heat exchanger. Cross flow heat exchanger. Okay. Cross flow heat exchanger. Now let us discuss about this particular two diagram. So in cross flow heat exchanger is also segregated into a two parts. Okay, where first one is nothing but uh, the two streams. Okay, or one of the stream is allowed to mix. Okay, and the streams of one of the fluid is, or both the fluids are unmixed. Okay, here in this particular case, one fluid is flowing through the tube. Consider that the hot fluid is flowing through the tube. Okay, so this already unmixed stream flow for the hot fluid. Okay, unmixed stream flow for the hot fluid, because the separate streams are flowing through separate tubes. Okay, separate tubes. Now one fluid is flowing over that particular tubes, over the tube, and this stream of fluids are allowed to mix each other. Okay, जो कोल्ड स्ट्रीम्स है, ओके, कोल्ड फ्लूइड्स के स्ट्रीम्स है, वो एक दूसरे में मिक्स होने के लिए अलाउ किए गए हैं इस टाइप में. ओके, सो वेयर एज in another type of heat exchanger, okay, the second type of cross flow heat exchanger, where any of the stream of a fluid is not allowed to mix each other. Okay, any of the fluid stream is not allowed to mix each other. So already we are considering that the hot fluid is flowing through the tubes. Okay, hot fluid is flowing through the tubes, so that these streams are not allowed to mix each other, whereas the fluid which is flowing over the tubes, okay, these streams are also separated by using the baffles. Okay, by using the separator, this you can see that the in between of a two stream, there is one separator or baffle is provided, and this baffle does not allow to mix the two streams. Okay, so cold fluid is also having the unmixed streams. The cold fluid is also having the unmixed stream. Now, what is the difference? What will happen in these two cases? So why we are allowing to mix and why we are not allowing to mix? So once you allow to mix the cold fluid streams, so in this case, we will get the uniform temperature for the cold fluid. Okay, in this case, we will get the uniform temperature for the cold fluid at any cross section. Okay, means what? If you take the cross section at this particular point, let us say on a second tube, we have to consider the temperatures. Okay, over the second tube, cold fluid temperatures we are going to consider. Okay, the fluid is already allowed to mix each other so that the uniform temperature will be there at this particular location. So we'll get the same temperature at this location also, at this location also, and at this location also. Okay, but as we the temperature will get changed in that particular flow direction. Okay, at one location will at one cross section will get the same temperature, but this temperature will be different than this temperature. Okay, if you take the temperature on the third tube, then that temperature will be different than the temperature on the second tube. But whatever the temperature on the second tube we will take, we will get the uniform temperature over this particular second tube. Okay, so that is the advantage, or we can say that that is the feature of this particular uh, first type of a cross flow heat exchanger, where one of the fluid is allowed to mix their streams. Okay, and in the second types, as the fluid streams are not allowed to mix each other. Okay, not allowed to mix each other, so we will get the different temperature at particular cross section. Let us say that we are taking the temperature on the on the second tube. So as these streams are not allowed to mix each other, so this stream temperature we will get different one. This stream temperature we will get different. This stream temperature we will get different. This stream temperature we will get different. Also, there will be a difference in across the different cross section, across the different cross section. Okay, so where in this cross section flow type of a heat cross flow heat exchanger, the the two fluids are in the right angle to each other. Okay, two fluids are flowing in the right angle to each other. Okay, so that this type of heat exchangers are called as a cross flow heat exchanger. This type of fluids, this type of heat exchangers are called as a cross flow heat exchangers. Okay, ready everyone? Because the two fluids are flowing perpendicular to each other. Two fluids are flowing perpendicular to each other. Okay, so you can draw these particular two diagrams. Draw these two diagrams. Getting everyone? Cross flow type heat exchanger. Okay, have you drawn the diagram? Shall I dictate? So write down, in this type of heat exchanger, in this type of heat exchanger, in this type of heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluid streams in this type of heat exchanger, in this type of heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluid streams in this type of heat exchanger, the hot and cold fluid streams crosses one another, crosses one another, crosses one another in space, crosses one another in space, usually at a right angle, crosses one another in space, usually at right angle, usually at right angle. Usually at right angle. Full stop. Second point, figure A, about the figure A, figure A, hot fluid flows in a separate tubes, hot fluid flows in a separate tubes, hot fluids flows in a separate tubes, and there is no mixing of a fluid streams, and there is no mixing of a fluid streams, and there is a no mixing of a fluid streams. Full stop. There is no mixing of a fluid streams. Full stop. The cold fluid is perfectly mixed. The cold fluid is perfectly mixed. The cold fluid is perfectly mixed as it flows through exchanger. The cold fluid is perfectly mixed as it flows through exchanger. Full stop. Next point, figure B. Figure B. In this case, in this case, each of the fluid flows. In this case, each of the fluid flows. Each of the fluid flows. In this case, each of the fluid flows through prescribed path. In this case, each of the fluid flows through prescribed path and and is unmixed and is unmixed and is unmixed and is unmixed as it flows through heat exchanger and is unmixed as it flows through heat exchanger as it flows through heat exchanger. Okay, full stop. Then third category. Okay, third category. So it is already a 4 p.m. So I think Digvijay sir has conducted 1.5 hours, so that I will consider that point, and I will not stretch more in this particular lecture. So remaining part, that is nothing but according to the design, construction and feature, the classification of heat exchanger, and the last one is according to the physical state. Okay, according to the physical state of a fluid. Okay, so these two classifications are remaining out of this particular classification point that we will discuss tomorrow. Then we will start the analysis of heat exchanger. Okay, analysis of heat exchanger point. So we will stop here. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Anybody having any doubt, any question about any of the classification? what we have learned today. So out of that, if you have any doubt, you can ask. If not, then you can put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave this meeting. Okay. So remaining classification we will discuss tomorrow.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, Sachin.
सर आणखीन किती लेक्चर लागतात आपल्याला सर?
आणखी ना
हा.
एक 15 लेक्चर अजून लागतील की.
हम्म.
अरे बोर झाला.
नाही फीडबॅक ही झाला ना याच्यावर.
हा हा कधी झाला?
झाला
मला
गेल्या
वाटतं की तो
हा.
बोर शिकायला बोर झाला काय की.
नाही आमचा एचओडीचा फीडबॅक मीटिंग होती.
बर बर बर. हा हा
मग पहिल्या चॅप्टरलाच म्हणले लय वेळ टाइम दिला असं तसं. मग सांगत होते वांगीकर सर बी लागतोच त्याला टाइम. म्हणलं
लागतो.
सरांनी 40च्या वर लेक्चर कंडक्ट केले म्हणलं.
हा लागतो त्याला टाइम तेवढा.
हां.
माझा अनुभव आहे तर तेवढा. आता 4 वर्ष मी शिकवतोय हा सब्जेक्ट आणि त्यातनं हा
हां.
ऑनलाईन आहे ना, त्यामुळे थोडा एक इन ऍक्च्युअल किती लागतो माहिती आहे त्याचा टाइम. एक 32 लेक्चर लागते त्याला फिजिकली कंडक्ट करावं लागते.
हां.
ऑनलाईन मोड मध्ये म्हणजे आपला त्या थोडा जरा जास्तच
हां.
टाइम गेला. हा
डिक्टेशनला टाईम लागतो त्याला.
हा थोडा डिक्टेशनला पण टाइम लागतो ऑनलाईन मोड मध्ये. त्यामुळे 40 एक लेक्चर पर्यंत आपला पहिला चॅप्टरच गेला.
हां,
बाकी
40 शिकले.
सेकंड चॅप्टरला पण जास्त टाइम लागला नाही. थर्ड
हं.
चॅप्टर फिफ्थ चॅप्टर तर 2-3 लेक्चर मध्ये संपला तो तर
हं.
थेरॉटिकल. आता ह्याला हीट एक्सचेंजरला एक रविवारपर्यंत संपवून टाकतो. ठीक आहे. उद्या
बरं.
2 तास. उद्या कोणता वार आहे? शनिवार आहे. उद्या 2 तास. रविवारी
हं.
2 तास. रविवारी संपवून टाकू एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर 2 तास घेऊन. रविवारी संपत नाही.
चालतंय.
80% संपल हा चॅप्टर. सोमवारी किंवा मंगळवारी आपला
हं.
हीट एक्सचेंजर चॅप्टर संपतोय. त्याच्यात अजून 4 डेरिव्हेशन
बरं.
आहेत. हा आणि तिथनं
हं.
पुढे मग एक 10 लेक्चर रॅडिएशनला. 10 ते 11 लेक्चर रॅडिएशनला. परत आपल्याला प्रॅक्टिकल कंडक्ट करायचे.
रेडिएशन जरा मोठा चॅप्टर आहे.
मोठा चॅप्टर आहे पण थेरॉटिकल जास्त आहे. कन्सेप्च्युअल आहे थोडा. त्यात
हं.
एक 2-3 डेरिव्हेशन आहेत. बाकी थेरॉटिकल पार्ट जास्त आहे त्यात.
हां.
ठीक आहे. प्रॉब्लेम पण असते.
अच्छा.
1-2 पॉईंटवर प्रॉब्लेम आहेत. ते प्रॉब्लेम पण घेऊया आपण आणि रॅडिएशन पण कम्प्लीट करू. त्यानंतर आपल्याला प्रॅक्टिकल
बरं.
कंडक्ट करायचं.
होय.
मग आपल्याला एक्सटर्नल ओरल आहे. ऍक्च्युली
हं.
पीओई आहे आपल्याला. प्रॅक्टिकल ओरल एक्झामिनेशन आहे. तुम्ही
हां.
प्रॅक्टिकल कंडक्ट करायचे असते ओरल मध्ये. पण ते पॉसिबल नाही. पण आपण प्रॅक्टिकल डेमो तरी देतो मी तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना ऑनलाईन.
चालतंय.
हा एका तासात एक प्रॅक्टिकल संपून जाईल. त्याचा काय प्रॉब्लेम.
बरं. चालतंय.
मग एकदा सिलेबस संपला का दररोज एक प्रॅक्टिकल घेत जाईल मी. एक
हां.
10 एक 7 ते 8 घेऊया एक्सपेरिमेंट आपण.
बरं.
संपून टाकू. ओके.
चालतंय. थँक्यू.
ठीक.